Let me tell you something that I think writers in general, but especially new writers, don't hear often enough. You are allowed to write a bad first draft. Not, it's just a little messy or just needs a little bit of polish, but actually kind of bad. Because no one, and I mean no one, nobody, expects a first draft to be perfect. Nobody. Every publisher expects the first draft to need edits. Every editor expects rewrites. Every experienced author expects to look at their first draft and think, ooh, this is kind of rough. That's not failure. That's just part of the process. Everybody edits in different ways, different amounts. Very famous example, Ernest Hemingway. The Ernest Hemingway famously is on record as saying that he rewrote the ending of A Farewell to Arms 39 times. But after he died and his notes were discovered, turns out he actually had closer to 47 different endings. 47 different endings. If Hemingway needed that many attempts to get it right, you're allowed to kind of struggle your way towards a good version of your ending or whatever part of the story you need to be working on. Could be the whole thing, but that's part of the process. Now, here's where you actually have an advantage over old school writers. They used to always say, never edit as you write. But honestly, that advice came from a time when editing meant retyping entire pages on a typewriter. Today, editing as you write, within reason, can save you a massive amount of pain later. And AI tools can help with that a lot. I use Sudowrite. You know, the Sudowrite, I use it for prose generation because it's something I struggle with, but it isn't going to write a book for you. What it's there to help you with is to overcome weaknesses like I have with prose writing, but it can also help you with the editing process while you're working on the story by smoothing out clunky sentences, trying out alternate phrasings, fixing pacing issues early. You can explore different directions without completely starting over. Instead of having to write 47 endings completely from scratch, you can explore several variations in just a few minutes, and then continue. It doesn't mean you have to obsess over every single sentence. It just means that you have tools available to you now that people even 5, 10 years ago could only have dreamed of having available. It means you use your tools intentionally. If a scene feels kind of flat, you can use AI to help you figure out why. If the dialogue doesn't sound quite right, maybe it sounds too stiff, you can use AI to help you loosen it up a bit, make it sound more natural. If you get stuck, a lot of people get stuck and end up quitting, you use the AI to help you keep momentum, keep going instead of quitting. That's not cheating. That's just working smarter. You know, having a bad draft doesn't mean you failed at anything. It means you've created something that you can work with. The AI tools, they don't replace your voice. They simply allow you to hear it more clearly. They can help you take a first draft from being just a mumble of problems into a series of fixable choices. And I think this is very important if you're a new writer, because you're already trying to take in so much. You're trying to juggle so many different things. You're trying to learn all the little nuances of writing. There's the plots and characters, the structure, the prose, themes. By using AI as a support system, it allows you to focus on your story instead of getting buried under a bunch of different seemingly random things that they all need to come together to create the story, but it feels scattered and nebulous. You can use modern tools to help you bring it all together. So I want you to kind of take this as a permission slip. Write the messy version. Then you can use AI to help you smooth out the edges. Fix the problems you notice as you're writing, but keep moving. Because you don't need perfection. You need progress. Your favorite authors, they didn't start with masterpieces. They started with bad drafts too. And through the tools available to them, maybe it was simply feedback, giving their rough draft to people to read it and get notes from. Or if they were published, they had people working for the publishers, editors, that would do that for them. And then they would get back the rough draft with all the notes and make revisions, do editing, cut things out, add things. They worked with the tools that they had available to them. You have new tools you can work with, along with all the old school tools that are still widely available. Even if it's just some friends that are willing to help you out and take a look and tell you what they think, as long as they're being honest. That is very important with having friends or anybody read a rough draft, is that they have to be honest with you. If they're just going to tell you nice things because they want to be nice, it's not helpful. They need to read it as a reader and then tell you actual things that will help you revise your rough draft into something closer to a finished draft, which through different editing cycles, and again, everybody edits in their own way. Some people don't do a lot of editing, some people do a lot. You will eventually get something that you are happy to publish, whether it's self-publish or prepared for sending off to publishers and agents. But you can't do that until you actually start writing. So in order to get a rough draft, you have to write one. So go write yours. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the usual YouTube stuff. Thank you very much for watching. More resources in the description below. I'll see you on the next one.